Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping headfirst into a really exciting new paper that's just dropped, introducing a powerful new family of open-source AI models. And trust me, this is way more than just another update. It could seriously shake things up in the world of artificial intelligence. So let's get right into it. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the core tech that makes all this stuff possible. Then we'll properly meet the Llama 3 family, or herd as they call it. We'll peek under the hood at their most powerful model, see how it stacks up against the big players, and then talk about what this all means for the future of AI. All right, first things first. Before we can really dig into what makes Llama 3 so special, we got to understand the engine that's driving it. This is kind of the key concept behind, well, pretty much all modern AI. So let me just ask you this. What is the engine powering all these incredible AI tools we're seeing everywhere? The answer, you might have guessed, is something called a foundation model. The best way to think about a foundation model is to picture like a master chef for AI. These models have been trained on an absolutely massive library of information. We're talking a huge chunk of the internet. This gives them this broad, general-purpose knowledge that can then be fine-tuned for almost any specific task you can think of. Whether that's writing a poem or analyzing complex financial data. Okay, so now that we're on the same page about foundation models, let's meet the new kid on the block, Llama 3. And this isn't just one model, which is key. It's a whole new family. You'll notice the paper doesn't just talk about a new model, it introduces a whole herd. And that's a really important word choice. We're not just looking at a single AI here, but a whole collection of them, each with different sizes and strengths, and all of them are built to be multilingual right from the get-go. And what's really cool is what these models can do right out of the box. They can reason through tricky problems, they can write code, they understand a whole bunch of languages, and they can even use other digital tools to get jobs done. And this isn't some extra feature, this is what they're built to do. It's their native skill set. All right, now for the fun part. Let's pop the hood on the heavyweight champion of the Llama 3 herd, the 45B model. We're going to see what makes this thing tick and why it's so incredibly powerful. 405 billion parameters. I mean, just let that number sink in for a second. It's huge. You can think of parameters as being sort of like the connections in a brain. The more you have, the more nuance and context you can understand. So with 405 billion of them, Llama 3 has this incredible capacity to learn. And get this, it also has a 128,000 token context window. What does that mean in plain English? Well, it's basically its short-term memory, and it's massive. It's like being able to read an entire novel and then have a detailed conversation about it without forgetting a single detail from the beginning. That's the level of conversation we're talking about. And look, this isn't just me saying it. The paper's authors make a really bold claim. They say Llama 3 is a dense transformer that's a super powerful and efficient type of AI, and that it delivers quality that's comparable to GPT-4, which has been the undisputed champ for a while now. So that naturally leads us to the big question, right? How does this new herd actually perform when you put it up against the giants that are already out there? The authors are being super clear here. They aren't just saying Llama 3 is a pretty good alternative. Nope. They're positioning it as a direct, top-tier competitor to the best models in the world. This is basically them throwing down the gauntlet. So here's the tale of the tape. On one side, you've got Llama 3, which the paper says delivers comparable quality across a whole bunch of tasks. On the other, you've got GPT-4, the established benchmark. In the super competitive world of AI, getting to this level of performance with an open model is frankly a huge deal. But here's where it gets even cooler. Llama 3's ambitions don't just stop with text. The researchers are already looking ahead, working on giving it senses, moving it beyond just language and into the world of sight and sound. They're experimenting with giving Llama 3 the ability to see, hear, and understand video. And they're using this thing called a compositional approach, which basically means they're adding these new senses on top of the model's already powerful language core. It's like taking a genius and then giving them superpowers. So this is kind of their roadmap to a truly multimodal AI. First, they layer on the ability to see images. Then, they add the power to understand moving pictures, video. And finally, they give it ears with speech recognition. They're building an AI that can interact with the world in a way that's much more like how we do. Okay, super important to point out though, these multimodal versions are still in the lab. They're still under development. So while the early results are really promising, these souped up versions of Llama 3 aren't out in the wild just yet.
This is the future they're building, not what's available today.
So let's bring it all home. We've talked about what Llama 3 is and what it can do. But now for the biggest question of all, why should you actually care about any of this?
So, what's the bottom line here? Well, first off, making the 405B model publicly available is a massive win for the entire open source community. It puts state-of-the-art power into the hands of developers and researchers everywhere. Second, they're including safety tools right from the start, which shows they're thinking about responsible AI, not just raw power. But maybe most importantly, Llama 3 offers a real, powerful, open alternative that could completely reshape the AI landscape by challenging the big, closed models.
The arrival of the Llama 3 herd really feels like it's signaling a new chapter. It's not just a race between a couple of big companies anymore. It's becoming more like a stampede of innovation coming from every direction. So the question isn't just about who wins. It's about who's going to lead the charge into what's next for AI. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.